Hey, what's up guys, Sneeze here. I just want to say first of all that this video is for my subscribers and people who watch a lot of my videos. If you were just on YouTube and you search Smite and you just came across this video, just keep that in mind, because I've been getting a lot of questions on why I haven't been playing a lot of Smite. But you guys are more than welcome to rate, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. As far as my regulars are concerned, I apologize for not getting that many channel update videos out there. I know it's been some months since the last channel update and a lot has happened. So throughout this video, I'm going to try to explain why I haven't been playing that much Smite of recent. I haven't played that much Smite in a few weeks, and I thought, you know, since I'm doing this video, why not record some Smite coverage? So unfortunately, this is what happened. Yeah, unfortunately the lobby's frozen. Servers just took a poop. Can't communicate with my team right now to see if they're still in the lobby too, but I can't click on any gods. The game's not starting. And it's really unfortunate, you know. I want to show some Smite gameplay while I'm doing this video, but it's not gonna happen. And I have 0 goodwill, so that's just really awkward right there. So a little history about myself so you guys can better understand where I'm coming from. I've been playing Smite for over a year, and I didn't quite play when it first came out, because when it first came out it was closed beta. And the only people that played it were developers and popular YouTubers and friends and family. It wasn't until a few months later, when it was still closed beta, but it was open to the public, you could purchase it. And I purchased it for $8, which was the lowest amount that you could purchase it for. And ever since then, I've been playing Smite non-stop almost every day. There was a time in the beta where Arachne was doing triple the amount of damage for her basic attack, and they nipped it in the bud. Same goes for when Kronos' basic attack at one time was doing crazy amounts of damage. And there was a time where Ares, if you timed it right, you could use your ultimate, and while you're casting your ultimate, you would be CC immune, and then you just cancel it. So if you timed it right, you could be CC immune for free without using any type of mana, without anything, and they nipped that in the bud. There was a point where if you jumped and Hercules hit his 2, if you timed it right, you would avoid that knockup. So there were a lot of small little things that the developers caught and they fixed immediately. And also there was a point where Naja was doing crazy amount of crit damage in her ultimate, and people were abusing that. They were abusing it, and the developers found out and they nipped it in the bud immediately. You know, why am I mentioning this? I'm mentioning it because I'm 100% selfish. I wish this game could stay in beta forever. You know, when I think of beta, I think of Cinderella, and I apologize in advance because I can't find another analogy than Cinderella. So Cinderella, she finally gets the dress. She finally gets the horse and carriage. She finally gets that dance with the prince. Smite is like Cinderella, you know, because eventually that clock is going to strike 12 and reality is going to set in. When the 100K finally finished, the amount of people that were playing Smite, it just exploded. It absolutely exploded. And along with that, the developers had to shift their focus. You know, they had to shift their focus and try to retain that vast amount of people that were shifting over to Smite. And also try to lure in more players to play Smite. So everyone's focus just shifted, you know, instead of focusing on the small things. Now, I'm not saying now they're not focusing on small things that need to get fixed, but you have to admit, when it was in beta and there was nothing else grabbing their attention, 100% of their focus was on improving this game. As you've seen in the start of the video, I tried to play Smite and it just wasn't happening. What's happening is that a lot of people are playing Smite, but the servers, they just can't handle the vast amount of people that are playing Smite. Now, on one hand, that's a great thing, and the other hand, that's a really bad thing, you know, so they have to find a way to fix that. Now, I don't know the exact price of the servers, but I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a limb and say they're really, really expensive. So that's where investors come in. And that's where this whole Cinderella beta thing gets thrown out the window, because it's way past 12 o'clock now. Now they have to start generating money to purchase things like this. I was watching one of the God reviews, and it was like a God review slash patch notes. It was the host and the owner, and it came along the lines of the host just asking the owner how much of his own personal money he's put into Smite. And the owner said that he invested $1 million. Now, whether you believe him or not, $1 million is $1 million. And I believe it because of how big and how much money certain things in Smite cost. You know, whether it's the servers, whether it's the salary for all of the employees, the rent to just rent out the building, or if they even own the building. There's a lot of factors, so that's not unrealistic. So I believe him in that scenario where he invested so much of his own money into the business. Now, where you thought I was gonna go, oh, they're just money hungry company, they just want your money, I'm actually in favor of being a money whore. You know, because think about it. If you're putting your own money into a business, whether you're a baker and you want to open up a bakery, whether you're whatever, you know, if you're investing your own money into your business, you deserve that money back, you know, and you should be in that mindset of, if I'm putting money in, I want money back. Now, where the servers come into play is he can't alone just invest his own money. He has to get investors. So when I think of investors, I think of Shark Tank, and there's this guy called Mr. Wonderful, real evil guy. He has this motto where he only cares about money. So here we have a game called Smite where they need servers, they need money just to survive. You know, to stay even, they're not generating enough money to stay alive. So they need people like investors to invest in the company. So when it comes to money and trying to get money, I understand what their hustle is in that scenario. Okay, with that being said, let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's get to what's grinding my gears. In the past, I was doing a lot of viewer games. I was doing everything from 1v1ing with you guys, 3v3 maps with you guys, assault maps with you guys, conquest, even arena too. It dawned on me that these games just aren't even possible. With the old elo system, how it worked was the person with the top elo, that was pretty much what everyone on your team was. So whatever the person on the top's elo was, regardless if you were new to the game, that's what your elo was, and they would just do the same exact thing to the opposite team. Now, when I was doing 3v3s, those games were based off of the person with the highest elo, which was 90% of the time was me. Very, very rarely was I lower elo than the people I was playing with. When we were playing games, we were playing against teams like 100% of the time. I can't even think of a time where I wasn't going up against a team on a 3v3 map. Now, what the other enemy team was doing was they were definitely on TeamSpeak. They had an advantage on us where they could communicate with each other on TeamSpeak. They played with each other. They had a lot of experience playing with each other. So when I'm in a viewer game and I'm going up against teams like this, we would just be getting crushed, like game after game after game after game. And I have no problem with that. Teams wanting to communicate with each other, whether it be Mumble, Skype, TeamSpeak, whatever. I have no problem with that. The problem is the elo system. Back then, the elo system was just horrific, you know, and you could hear it in my voice how disappointed I was when I'm playing with viewers and we're losing almost every single game, and it's because of my elo. by no means am I saying that I have a crazy high elo and I'm the greatest Smite player on the planet. No, that's not what I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say here is at my current elo, I'm playing against people who understand the game on a whole nother scale. It's very, very, very competitive and aggressive. So a way to remedy this is to create a second account, you know, create a second name. I'd create Teddy Bear 360 no scope, you know, and play with you guys that way. But if you guys have low elo and I come into the game with low elo, we'll be going up against people with low elo. That's pretty much people who have never played Smite ever before. And to be completely honest, like on a moral standpoint, that's just wrong. For someone like me who's been playing Smite for over a year, I'd be going up against noobs, and that just wouldn't be fair. And I can't see myself not playing as SneezeOnU. I want to play as SneezeOnU. I like that name. I don't want to be Teddy Bear 360 no scope. So back to what's grinding my gears. Osiris is actually grinding my gears. He was recently added to the Smite lineup a while back, and he's a melee Egyptian god. I remember watching the god reveal on their live stream, and I had no knowledge of this guy. I saw that his name was Osiris. Oh, okay, that's cool. Oh, okay, he's an Egyptian god. Okay, he's melee. Okay, cool. So he's showing the abilities, and right off the bat, I'm seeing his ability, his basic attacks, and I just get this weird chill up my spine. So later on, he goes into lane, and he starts attacking the minions. And if for those who don't know, Osiris's basic attacks, he's whipping, you know, with the flail. I have no problems with the other weapon that he's holding, the one that looks like a backwards C. I think it's called like a sickle or something like that. But it's the flail. The flail I find is very, very offensive. Now, I understand that when you look at Egyptian mummies, the majority of them have across their chest on their tombstones, have the flail and have the sickle and like an X symbol across their chest. So from that standpoint, I understand the weapon selection for Osiris, but there's hundreds, maybe even thousands of mythological gods out there. And I know that he's tied to Isis in some way, shape, and form. But okay, look at it like this. If you show a gun to a police officer, the police officer might say that gun represents the line of duty. If you show a gun to someone in the inner city where there's a high population of gangs, that person might say that gun represents crime and things of that nature. If you show a flail to anyone across the world, most likely they'll say that the flail represents oppression. And this has nothing to do with race versus another race, because the Egyptians oppressed their own people. So when I say I'm offended by the flail, I'm saying that I'm offended by a symbol that represents oppression. So back to what's grinding my gears. I was watching a live stream a while back, and it was the host Bart and two lead developers. These developers specialize in the elo system, so they created this new elo system. And this live stream was also going to talk about the patch and the nerfs. And this was the patch. This was the live stream where they were talking about the warriors and what was wrong with them and what needed to change. And what I find was funny was, I don't know if you guys have seen the live stream, but the whole time Bart is holding this cup, and on this cup he has like this piece of paper with tape all around it. On the piece of paper it says warriors tiers, and the warriors were the ones that were going to get nerfed in the patch, and the tiers were going to represent the people, the experienced Smite players that don't want this patch to happen, you know, because I was completely blindsided when they were just going to nerf every single warrior except for one. So as the live stream progressed, and it was more of like an interview, Bart was the host and the two developers were the guests, you know. So Bart was asking questions. The Twitch chat was asking questions, and I think they were taking questions from Twitter, but I can't even remember. I knew the reason why they nerfed the whole entire warrior class. I know the reason, but there's a part of me that wants to hear why they nerfed him. The developers just pretty much said it's Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong is getting so many complaints. Tyr is getting so many complaints. Odin is getting so many complaints. So they felt the need to just completely nuke the whole entire warrior class. And I know where this is coming from. It's coming from the noobs. The noobs have no idea how to counter Sun Wukong. I can tell you right now, Kumba is a great counter to Sun Wukong. Now, granted, Sun Wukong has the bird formation where he can get somewhere quickly, where Kumba doesn't. But in every other scenario, Kumba shuts down Sun Wukong, and that's just one god right there. And Tyr also got the atomic bomb dropped on his head. You know, he absolutely got nerfed. He just got destroyed. So what was happening was a lot of experienced Smite players were, instead of playing as an assassin, they were playing as a warrior. Because when you look at an assassin, and I'm going to take Loki as the leader of the assassins, you look at Loki, and Loki's one of those gods where he can dish out damage. Like, if you understand Loki, he can be really, really dangerous. So as fast as he can kill someone, he can die that quick. So Loki has no chance whatsoever in a team fight. Unless you build him a certain way, he has no chance in a team fight. So what experienced players were doing were they were playing the jungle role as a SneezeONU, as an Odin, as a Tyr, as a Sun Wukong, as a Nemesis, because these gods had, if you built him a certain way, they would dish out the same exact damage as an assassin. They had protections that assassins didn't. Did these gods deserve the atomic nuke on their heads? I don't think so. There's active items out there where you can counter. Beads is one of them. Combat Blink is another. Aegis Pendant is one. I mean, active items alone, you can counter these gods. So as this interview progresses, they're going down the list of the patch notes, and it's Bart. He's reading them off, and the developers are right there. And they reach the section of Hercules, and everyone got nerfed. Tyr got nerfed. Sun Wukong got nerfed. SneezeONU got nerfed. All these Odin lost their protections, lost their scaling, lost their damage. Hercules gets a buff? Are you serious? Are you serious? Now I want to sit here and say, how did they not nerf Hercules? How? Ask any experienced Smite player which god needs to get nerfed. They're not going to say Bastet. They're not going to say Zeus. Would we like them to get a little bit of nerf? Okay, yeah, sure. But Hercules is the number one. Either Nuwa, Hercules, or Aphrodite. And they nerfed Aphrodite, which was really big. And this just falls back onto what I was saying about the beta and how it was Cinderella, you know, because in the early stages of the beta, my voice would have been heard. But now the game is catering to new players, which is totally understandable. To grow as a game, they need new players. They need to listen to the noobs. I hate saying the word, but I'm saying it NEWB, someone who's absolutely completely new to Smite. I'm not saying noob as an NOOB, someone who I would call if I wanted to insult someone. So the game is catering to noobs, and unfortunately, gods like Hercules are slipping through the cracks, which is making the game very, very difficult when you are going up against someone who obviously needs a nerf and isn't getting one. So a lot of the time I watch a lot of Smite videos on YouTube. I watch a lot of live streams, and a lot of people who play ranked, a lot of them are saying, well, in order to improve the picking and banning stages of ranked, what we need to do is implement banning 6 gods or 7 gods or 8. And it just goes higher and higher and higher as the days progress. And I think it's absolutely hilarious because no one has thought of why on earth does Smite only have 54 gods. I don't care what you say. I'm going to leave this up for a little bit. I want you guys to look at this picture. This is League of Legends. Okay? This is a competitor of Smite. Matter of fact, Smite is a competitor of League of Legends. Every game similar to League of Legends is vying for that #1 spot. Right now, League of Legends is #1. Whether you love Smite, whether you love Dota, everyone is vying for this spot. I did some research because I know nothing about League of Legends, you know. I know nothing about Dota. I know nothing about these other games. League of Legends, according to Wikipedia, League of Legends, since January 14th, 2014, they averaged per month 67 million people playing. 67. That's insane. That's insane. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about why Smite only has 54 gods right now. Why do they have 54? League of Legends, right around 120 gods available. Dota 2, right around 120 champions, I think they call them, available. Heroes of New Earth, right around 120 gods, champions, whatever they call them, available. Infinite Crisis, 31 gods. Now this is the game where you could play as Batman or something like that, and Superman, and you have like an alternate universe and you can be robot Batman or Superman or something like that. So that's that game. Panzer has 10 gods, I think. So the question I want to ask is, Smite, who are you trying to compete with? Are you trying to compete with Infinite Crisis and Panzer when it comes to the god pool? Because if you are, you're ahead. You're ahead right now. But if we're talking about other games, other popular games, you are so far behind in the god pool. Why is this such an important thing to touch on? Why does this deserve a spotlight? It deserves a spotlight because we have experienced players talking about banning 6, 8, 10 gods. Bans that include Sun Wukong, that ban tier, that ban all these gods that don't need bans. I mean, if Smite had a god pool like this, there would be 5 Sun Wukongs. Don't even worry about banning Sun Wukong, because guess what? We have Kitty, who can do 73 transformations. We have Doggy, who can do 78 transformations. Banning would be a thing of the past because there would be a counter for every single god available. With the pool being this small, I mean, some gods are going to be overpowered. Some gods are going to be weaker than others. But with a pool like this, you have to see, from my vantage point, the game would be a lot better. Now, granted, I've never created a game ever. I'm sure some of you have never created a game either. So when it comes down to creating a god, I think that's probably extremely difficult. It's probably extremely difficult. I hope there isn't one person creating all these gods. I hope it's like a big giant team, because just think about it. Like, you have an Amir going up against the Hades. Okay, so Amir freezes Hades. Just coding alone, freezing another character god, that must be incredibly hard. You must have incredible skill in creating a god. So yeah, you know, I went off topic. This was supposed to be a channel update, and I just ranted. But hopefully what some of you subscribers and regular viewers and people that have been asking me in the comment section and the private messages why I haven't been playing Smite, hopefully you got something out of this video. And I am gonna play Smite again. I have faith that they're gonna fix the things that need to get fixed. But until then, I'll definitely see you guys later.